Our story today, the Digging-est dog. Yes, the Digging-est dog. Says for sale. I was the saddest dog you could ever see. Sad because no one wanted me. The pet shop window was my jail. The sign behind me said, "For sale." Can you imagine sitting there all that time and no one coming to buy you? And now it seems like a jail to you. But it goes on and says, I was told, I was tired. I had been there a long, long time. And now I wanted someone just to buy me, to go home with someone. I was tired to a bare, hard floor to stone. I could not even dig for a bone. I was living all my life alone, a dog that no one wanted to own. Can you imagine a dog no one wanted to own? Yes, he was living in a place that he didn't want to be. And then one day at 4:30, Sammy Brown came in the door. Sam took one look at me and cried, "Why are you tied up here inside?" He was curious as why the dog was tied up. He wanted the dog. Yes, he liked the dog first love, first sight. So guess what? The dog who was all tired, the dog who now had been sitting beside the sign that said for sale, someone finally came to buy this dog. Yes, someone came. This boy named Sam. Sam was excited. I've always wanted a dog like you, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll take you out of the farm with me. You'll play outside. You'll play outdoors where you should be. I felt so happy as a pup when Sam paid the man. Yes, when Sam paid the man and picked me up. He rubbed my ears. He scratched my head. I think I'll call you Duke, he said. And out of the pet store they went. Sam gave me a collar. He gave me a lead. He gave me a home. We left the shop at that tremendous speed, as fast as we could go. We left that shop. Yes, I was finally free out of that shop. No longer was I tied up. No longer was I sitting beside the sign that said for sale. For now, I had a home, and I would be glad to go with Sam to his home. We went a long way out of town. We came to the farm of Sammy Brown. It was the nicest place I'd ever seen. A pretty white house and a field of green, and in the shade of apple tree, a special dog house just for me. Next morning, while Sam did his chores, he let me run and play outdoors. Yes, he let me run and play outdoors, something I hadn't did. I always wanted to play outdoors. Yes, I'd never played outdoors before. I've always been living on this hard floor. Always living on this hard floor. I never run on my own. I never run on soft ground. Now I bark with joy as I ran around. Sam looked at me and scratched his head. "Duke, you need some friends," he said. He blew his whistle, and he blew a blast, and many dogs came running. Yes, many dogs came running. I'd never met a dog before. Now I was meeting 6 or more. They walked around and looked at me. They looked at me over carefully. Then, at last, I heard them say, "He's one of us. He'll be okay. He'll be okay because he's one of us." Yes, he's one of us. He'll be okay. One dog, who wasn't very big, suddenly began to dig. The others started digging too, but that was something I could not do. I'd never learned to dig in that store. How could I? On that hard stone floor. I tried to dig, but at last I couldn't. I wiggled my paw. My paws just wouldn't. I fell on my ears. I fell on my face. I fell on myself all over the place. You see, I never had digged before. This was all brand new to me. In that place, they never taught me how to dig. So I fall on my face. Then others said, "Duke may be big, but he's no good. He can't dig." They stuck their noses in the air. They walked away. They left me there all by myself. I'll teach you, Duke," cried Sammy. "I'll show you how to dig. Dig deep down." He crunched down beside me. With his hands, he dug a hole in a pile of sand. I tried it too, but I still couldn't. I wiggled my paws just wouldn't. I never understood how come I was having such a hard time. I never learned to dig in that store. How could I? On that hard stone floor. Sammy sighed. I almost cried. My eyes and my nose are full of dirt. My paws and claws and elbows hurt. I had a pain across my back I had never known. No, I knew I never get the knack of how to dig. I was upset. Yes, and all through the night I was upset. Even Sammy was upset all through the night. You see, neither one of us could really sleep. Neither one of us slept a wink that night. Sam felt sad and I felt bad. If only I could make him glad. We both knew I'd never get it right. Sam and I couldn't sleep that night because I couldn't dig. So when the sun rose in the sky, I thought I'd give it one more try. I'd waved one paw, wiggled another paw. I saw it. It could. I wiggled the other. I saw it. It would. I could dig with my paws. I could dig with my claws. I felt no pain across my back. I knew at last I had the act. I had the knack. Sammy Brown looked out at me. He saw me digging happily. "Good for you, Duke," Sammy cried. "I knew you could do it if you just tried. Yes, I knew you could do it if you just tried." He looked at me with all glad smiles, knowing that finally I was able to dig. I dug up my grass. I dug up weeds. I dug up dahlias, daisies. I dug up seeds. I dug up the fence. I dug up the gate. I dug up the garden of Mrs. Tinderwills. Yes, I was digging. I was digging. I dug up the rooster. I dug up the hens. I dug up the sheep and the pigs and their pens. Yes, I was getting this act of how to dig, and I was enjoying it. I dug and dug. I couldn't stop. I dug up the barber in his shop. I dug up Mr. Rooney, Mr. Thayer, sitting in the barber's chair. I dug my way through the town. I dug a lot of buildings down. Yes, I had this thing about digging. I was having so much fun. I dug up the highway 81. I came to a hill. I dug to the top, but all of a sudden I had to stop. Yes, all of a sudden I had to stop. Right in front of me, looking down, there stood my master, Sammy Brown. Yes, there stood my master, Sammy Brown, standing there looking at me. Sam didn't smile or pat me on my head. He only glared at me and said, "I'm sending you back to that animal store. They'll tie you up to that hard stone floor, and you'll never, ever, never, ever dig anymore." I couldn't run. I couldn't hide. Dogs came at me from every side. What was I going to do? Dogs came at me from every side. I was so upset. I couldn't run. I couldn't run. And then suddenly I knew there was just one thing for me to do. I ran away from the Sammy Brown and all his dogs. I dug a hole that went straight down. I left them standing up on top the hill. I dug and dug. I didn't stop digging. I continued to dig and dig and dig and dig. Yes, I dug a hole. How deep I dug, I couldn't tell. But soon I dug a well. Mud and water up to my chin. What a fix I now was in. I started to sink. I started to yelp. "Help!" I yelped. "Help! Help! 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 I'm dig deep in this water." I could never hear them way above my head. I could hear every word they said. I could hear them way, way above my head. One dog growled. "He wrecked our town. This serves him right. Just look at him, just let him drown." But Sam cried, "Duke, you had been bad. You made me sad instead of glad. But I'm not going to let you die. We'll get you out of there. At least we'll try to get you out of there. Yes, at least we'll try to get you out of there." Then at last I heard him shout, "Maybe we can pull you out." Slowly, slowly they came, each dog part of a long, long chain. I reached up, I touched the nose, I felt them lift me by my toes. Slowly, slowly, bit by bit, they dragged me up out of that pit. I thanked the dogs and Sammy Brown, and then I started back toward the town. I knew I had to dig one more thing to fix the things as I had made them mess, to fix the things up the way they were before I had made this mess. That's what I did. I dug back gates. I dug back the garden. I dug back the rooster, the hens. I dug back all the things, all the pigs in their pens. I dug all day in the summer of the sun. I dug back Highway 81. I dug back everything in town. Everything I had knocked down, I had dug back. Yes, everything that I had dug up, I dug back because I had made such a mess. Today, when I dig, well, I'm very careful. I'm used to. I need to be useful to everyone. I'm useful too. Sam lets me plow. He never sent me to that store or tied me up on a hard stone floor. My dog friends watch and wonder why. They can't dig as well as I dig. My dog friends just look at me and wonder why Sammy never sent me back to that store. Yes, Sammy never sent me back to that store. The diggingest dog there ever was.